I'm going to bring us now back into what we're trying to do is get to the answer to some of the stuff that we're struggling with. And there aren't any real answers, but at least we can start to figure out how we can find more information. And it sounds like a lot of you are actually doing that. I mean, and that, you know, there's not any other way other than to just start to dig in and dig into websites, dig into designs, and try and figure out where you're going. But one of the things that is hard to calculate and hard to imagine is the whole rest of the world as well. I mean, some of this is about our craft and what we want to make, but some of it is also about what is happening in the world. So we talked about this a little bit last time. We talked about a SWOT analysis, your strengths and weaknesses, opportunities and threats. In the last class, if you remember, you started working on your own strengths and weaknesses. And that's because we saved opportunities and threats, which are about the external world, not your world, but the world around us, for this time around. So we're going to be talking about opportunities and threats, and we're going to talk about how to think about the world around us and how to gauge and make some strategic decisions for your business based on what research you can do about the world around you. So there are all sorts of, pick an acronym, pick a process. There's a million out there, just like the SWOT is just one way to think about where you're positioned in your business or in your project. But the PEST is taking a look at political, economic, social, and technological impacts that are outside of your control. So here's the key. The stuff that is your strengths and weaknesses, you can control that. It's within you and your business. This is the stuff we can't control. So what's going on politically, economically, on a global scale, socially, on a global scale, and the rage and speed with which technology changes, those are all things that are out of our control. If you really get crazy and want to not make any decisions, you can keep going and look into the legal world and the environmental world, which you are welcome to do in thinking about what is impacting your business. And actually, for some of you, the environmental world may actually be really important to you. The realities of broomcorn and growing and hemp and growing and all sorts of wood. How do I turn that down or off? I think it might be, I think it's my email.
Yeah, actually got the email.
Well, you can just turn the volume off.
I can mute, can't I? I heard it. So this is a way to think about the world around you. So right now we know that we have a whole bunch of uncertainty in the political world, and some certainty, but I think a fair amount of uncertainty. So that could be an opportunity, or it can be a threat. So let's just talk because it's easy, because it's so fresh. How do you feel like the elections impact your world and your business? Do you think that there are some opportunities here or threats? What might they be?
Are we going to be genuinely honest?
Yeah.
Okay, well, based upon future events and probability, I just may not be here after January.
Well, that is certainly different.
So I'll take that I'll just say either opportunity or threat. There might be a better economy somewhere else.
I see it as a new opportunity for many things. I see it as it depends on how you want to see where you are standing in the world. Still, no matter what's still going on politically, you still have a right and a way to share your craft. And I think if it's a positive approach, people will still believe in you. And I'm only hoping that people will probably gravitate more toward artists, because I feel like artists represent history and represent true craftsmanship, USA, things like that. That's the way I'm looking at it as I see it as a positive thing. I see people looking more at different people differently, and then you will represent who you are by your attitude.
And I think our region has a real opportunity in that sense right now as well, because we're being looked at as an important place in the country, whether for good or bad reasons, doesn't matter. We're being looked at. That can be an opportunity because people are paying attention. People want to understand more about Appalachia,
Our
about,
successes, you know, why we do things differently, how we do
Yes.
things differently.
yes.
And I think if you ride that wave, you know, which I think most artists try to get better at things they do, because that's why they're doing.
So let's talk about the threat side though, because I want to hear more about what you see as threats.
Well, for sure what I've seen this year, just from an introduction to the market of crafts and talking to a lot of people who have done it for a long period of time, the election year has always been rough. And because of the tension in this election year, because it's been the craziest one I've seen out of my little life that I've been here, but just kind of like, there is definitely an opportunity for artists to be more vocal, but then how are you going to work with a craft and get people to buy things when they have priorities of buying other things because they're just freaking out? Because I know a lot of people that are freaking out, and then I know a lot of people who are on the other end who feel more comfortable and are more willing to buy, but just waiting for the market to level out is something that I'm just sitting back and observing.
Talking about the market, okay, right before the election, my stocks took a little bit of a nosedive, but since then, the dust leveled out.
Yep.
I'm actually up quite a bit on the stock market over what I was prior to the election. So I'm hoping that the economic thing will level out. I do everything analytically. I watch mine daily. What was down, I am actually higher than I was pre-election. Now, will that hold? I'm monitoring. But I'm
Right.
actually up what I was prior to.
Well, and the stock market is a long game.
It's at a record
So, I
high
mean, yes.
at one point.
And they are starting to spend now.
It's
So, we
holidays,
saw it
as you
change.
guys experienced
Right.
last
So
weekend.
I'm hoping the little dip is now gonna ride up and level out, and the stock market shows that.
Well, in all honesty, the craft market won't really be affected because who is really buying these crafts? It's old white people who are not going to be like Sizzly. Like it's old white people who are buying these things for the most part, and like they have the least to worry about the Trump presidency.
I don't see that.
I don't see it.
I don't see that at
So
all.
I think that's,
I think you have put your market in a can and closed the lid, and you shouldn't do that, because, and I wanna give you some hope, because the people that you look at to buy your stuff, most young people tend to resort to the same source, and it's just like these people. How do you know your stuff's not wanted in New York? That's where
Yes.
you go where the market is. You quit going where you think it's gonna go, and this is the whole part of research, is
Absolutely.
that really finding people, not just old white women, I mean, you know, because
That's
there's,
not fair.
because we're all gonna die.
That's really what I'm really interested in doing, is just watching the market and how it fluctuates, because I'm still in the learning process of my business. I haven't been in business for 30-some years, so just seeing how this has fluctuated and worked on things is very interesting to me. And also kind of taking that into consideration when I have been doing it 30 years and something similar occurs, because history repeats.
I would, if it were me,
Yeah.
in your situation, I really wouldn't pay very much attention to anything that's going on when it comes to anything to do with that election.
No,
It's
absolutely.
all gonna come out with the wash.
It's gonna level.
The biggest thing that's gonna be an advantage for anybody that's in business for themselves right now, if tax rates actually go down and people have a few more dollars in their pocket, they're gonna have a little more free cash to spend on things. That would be probably the only thing I can think of that will impact the majority of the people in here. I really wouldn't get wrapped around the axle and lose focus or make a change in my business because of this. I would really just take a breath because it's not either way, no matter who won that election. I mean, really, in my lifetime, every election that comes along, everybody promises all these things, they're gonna do all these things. And it all just kind of keeps right on cruising along. Now, it goes up a little bit and down, and the economy gets a little better, and then it gets a little bit worse. But really, you're making a big mistake if you lose focus. And or if you dive into the stock market,
Right.
sell a bunch of stuff out,
Right.
that's a huge mistake. So I would just stay focused on my business, not worry too much about that.
Well, part of my idea for my business is actually possibility of going back to school for marketing and understanding the marketing, how it works, how to market to target, and just kind of understanding the flux analysis,
That's a great
cause
idea.
I'm still kind of figuring everything else out.
I always say here, you should have a minor business,
Mhm.
take a business course.
Cindy, you don't care, Beth, one of the things I coach my clients on all the time, I was in the mortgage business, I was a mortgage lender when the housing market crashed. And I happened to get out right at that, like 3 months before it hit. I was very thankful to be out of it. But what I'm trying to say is, when uncertainty is happening, what happens is we as just humans, we tend to wanna duck and cover and just protect. During those times more than ever, that's when you need to rise up and move forward and become part of the solution and not be part of the problem. And that's what we tend to do. We wanna hide, we wanna go, okay, wait till it blows over. No, now you're part of the problem. Stand up and move forward.
Yeah.
And that's what helps it turn around.
Yeah.
Yeah, so just stick with it.
I'm planning on sticking with it, it's just observing what's going on
What's happening,
in
yeah.
my world is what I'm concerned with.
And
Everything
I'm
in the
saying that as a
business is
whole
good.
to everybody,
Yeah, yeah.
whenever something you're not sure, stand up and move forward.
So let's go ahead and do a little bit of research, and remember that there's no research trick other than using Google or Bing or whatever, you know, you use to try and dig into some of these issues. And in some cases, you may not even need to do a bunch of research, you just need to talk to one another. So all you're gonna do is spend 5 minutes, talk about where the big world outside of you may or may not have an impact. Oops, sorry. I'm really sorry, okay. As an opportunity or a threat, and then be prepared to make a concise little 1-minute report back to everybody about how you think we should be thinking about it. What matters to you? We apparently have answered for all of you guys that the politics doesn't matter. But you should still talk about it anyway and decide that for yourselves, okay? So you guys are you guys are political, economic, social, technology. All right, and